Most expensive construction mistakes in the world. From California's worst construction disaster to China's largest demolition of 15 never-used high-rises, here are 5 of the most costly construction blunders ever. Hey everyone, welcome to our channel. In today's video, we are going to talk about the most expensive construction mistakes in the world. So let's cut to the chase without further ado. Number 5. LIYANG Star City. The second phase of the so-called LIYANG Star City in Kunming, China, began construction in 2011. They constructed 19 high-rise buildings to house residential and office space on 4 large sites. The project changed hands less than a year after its construction began, and the new company completed the first 4 high-rises. But construction on the remaining buildings was halted in 2013 due to financial concerns. The other 15 structures were partially completed, but not completely finished. They began to be flooded with rainwater in the basements over time, resulting in foundation damage that was beyond repair. Another real estate company paid around $150 million for the property and project rights in December 2020. They quickly realized that the 8-year-old structures would not be able to meet the demands of a changing real estate market, so they decided to demolish them. Over 4 tons of explosives were used, and safety precautions were taken to make the demolition as safe as possible. The planned demolition was finally started in August 2021. They were demolished in 45 seconds after years of planning and construction, making it China's largest at-once demolition. Number 4. The Millennium Tower. With a height of nearly 200 meters, this residential tower is San Francisco's 6th tallest structure, completed in 2009. The Mission Street Development LLC spent $350 million on the skyscraper's construction, which went off without a hitch. Or so they thought. The residents of the Millennium Tower, who paid up to $13 million for a unit, discovered in 2016 that the building was tilting and sinking into the ground. An investigation at the time revealed that the tower's foundation was built into deep sand rather than bedrock, which was unable to support the weight of the structure. As a result, only 7 years after its debut, the Millennium Tower had sunk 40 centimeters and had 15 centimeter tilt at the top. Lawsuits were filed almost as soon as the information came to the surface. The city of San Francisco and the building's homeowners association sued the development team, which blamed another company for the nearby Transbay Transit Center's construction. It turned out, however, that the problem began even before they began. Many residents reported hearing creaking and cracking noises in September of 2018. Residents on the 36th floor were awakened in the middle of the night by a loud popping sound. A broken window in a corner unit suggests that the Millennium Tower has more serious structural issues. The lawsuits were eventually consolidated, and a settlement was reached to resolve the issue. What was the solution? Engineers devised a $100 million plan to drill into the bedrock on the tower's north and west side. Over 50 new piles, reaching up to 70 meters into the bedrock, were to be installed over the course of several years, bracing the tower and reducing the tilt. The new foundation was supposed to be built in 2020, but it had to be halted again in August 2021. The tower had sunk another inch, and the tilt had increased again, according to those in charge of the project monitoring. It currently leans more than 22 inches at the top, and the problem is being investigated again before work on the fix can resume. Number 3. OLKILUOTO 3 Nuclear Power Plant. Nuclear power is used to meet the demand for electricity in more than 30 countries around the world. Nuclear power generates about 30% of Finland's electricity, but the Finnish government decided in 2005 that this wasn't enough. They needed to build more nuclear reactors if they wanted to reduce the reliance on coal. The OLKILUOTO nuclear power plant in Urajoki was to receive a modern and highly efficient third unit, which would increase Finland's nuclear power production by nearly 60%. The reactor's first 2 units are operational and have been producing electricity since the 1980s. The third reactor, which began construction in 2005, was the first nuclear reactor built by a Western country in 15 years. Construction delays plagued the project from the beginning. The new reactor is still under construction, despite TVO, the company that owns the OLKILUOTO nuclear power plant, promising that it would open in 2010. The main structures were finished ahead of schedule, but the nuclear components took years to complete. For the past 12 years, the project has been in limbo due to business disputes, supply chain issues, and scheduling delays, costing an estimated $8 billion over budget. Part of the problem, according to experts, is that no one has built a nuclear reactor in a long time. During the 15-year period between previous reactors and the construction of OLKILUOTO 3, experienced builders left the business. Furthermore, contractors were unprepared for the stringent requirements of constructing a safe nuclear reactor. The concrete foundation had to be redone after it was discovered to be irregular shortly after it was laid. Some metal parts of the reactors were not correctly forged by contractors, and welders on the project were not informed of proper procedures before construction began. Due to the administrative concerns associated with the nuclear power plant, the project's planning was also a problem, and documentation and licensing took years to resolve. OLKILUOTO 3 will be ready for regular power generation in February 2022, according to TVO. The project's initial cost was estimated to be around $3 billion, but it has continued to rise with each passing year. The total project cost now is estimated to be $11 billion, nearly 4 times the original cost due to delays and issues. Number 2. HALLANDSAS Rail Tunnel. Problems with the Sweden's rail system arose in 1975, when some sections of the West Coast line could no longer handle the increased train traffic. To improve the situation, a massive project to upgrade the entire line to a double track was announced. The upgrade of the single-track railway on HALLANDSAS Ridge, which was a major bottleneck for passenger trains traveling between Gothenburg, Sweden, and Copenhagen, Denmark, was an important part of this project. As a result, work on the HALLANDSAS tunnel began in 1992, with an expected completion date of 3 years later. Problems, on the other hand, began almost immediately. As soon as construction began, groundwater began seeping from the rock in much larger volumes than expected. The rock was too soft for large drilling operations, and the first drill they tried to use broke. Traditional drilling, on the other hand, resulted in more water leaks. Due to these issues, the original contractor went bankrupt and had to relinquish control of the project. The new contractors, on the other hand, did not fare much better. They used a poisonous sealing compound during construction without taking proper precautions. As a result, livestock and fish in the surrounding area began to perish, and project workers became ill. Because of these issues, the company faced criminal charges, and construction was once again halted in 1997. Only about 3 kilometers of the 8-kilometer tunnel had been drilled at this point. Construction began again 8 years later. The project was made easier by new drilling machines and practices, but drilling was delayed in areas with lower quality bedrock because it took longer to safely bore through these areas. Number 1. The HARMON Hotel. The city center in Las Vegas is an urban complex located in the heart of the Las Vegas Strip. The HARMON Hotel, a 137-meter-tall mixed hotel and residence high-rise with a roof pool overlooking the Strip, was part of the self-contained city. The HARMON's construction began in 2007 with these plans and was estimated to cost around $275 million. But it was only half completed when work was stopped for good. Inspectors discovered significant structural flaws in the building in 2008. Construction was halted after the 28th floor due to incorrectly installed steel reinforcements that were supposed to stabilize the 49th floors. Condominiums were removed from the plans, which meant that those who had already purchased them had to be refunded. This change in the design caused even more delays, and construction eventually came to a halt. The HARMON's owners, MGM, wrapped the construction in reflective glass and sold it as an advertising space. According to reports from 2011, the HARMON would not survive an earthquake and would collapse due to a structural issue if one occurred. MGM responded by announcing the building's demolition. The skyscraper was dismantled floor by floor rather than being imploded due to the proximity of other nearby buildings. This process started in June 2014 and ended in 2015. The HARMON cost MGM over $450 million in total, with dismantling costing around $170 million. Due to severe structural issues, it was never used or open to the public, and the dismantling process took nearly a year on its own. And that's all for today, guys. Enlighten us with your thoughts. Share them in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell icon for more amazing videos. And thank you for watching.